Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your Proof Daily NFT Countdown. Lots to talk about today. Pudgy Penguins launching their toys on Amazon, some early success. Gonna talk about that. I bought 2 of them. Also gonna talk about Blur, which recently kind of said in some comments that trait bids are up next, so gonna throw some commentary in there. A one-of-one sale from an artist who was an illustrator for Game of Thrones. How cool is that? Gonna talk about that. And it's my sister's birthday. So happy birthday to my sister. But let's get right into it. Starting off with a quick market overview. Volumes were down a fair bit. Actually, the second lowest ETH volume day of 2023. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that lower volumes can be good if that means fewer people dumping into bids. So maybe it's not all bad. If you look at the market share, Blur, still the dominant player, 62% market share. This is below where they've been in the past. Normally when I show this chart, Blur's at 70 to 75%, so a little bit lower yesterday. In terms of large cap index, basically flat. We had some strength in VFriends, some weakness in Moonbirds. Looking at VFriends, on any longer term chart, this 11% move really does not stand out. But still, VCon is going on right now. Tyler did it, one of my favorite guys to follow over at Lucky Trader, has written some threads about a lot of the motivating things and interesting things that Gary has been saying. So perhaps getting a little bit of a bump on the back of that. And Pudgy Penguins, as we know, has been in the news with their toy launch, a little bit of strength in that project. Chart actually looks kind of nice. It's kind of steadily gone from about 3.8 to 4.8 over the past month or so. In terms of mid caps, basically flat, had some strength in Genesis Creep, some weakness in Fluff. Art projects, not a ton of volume, but did have a Gazer sale, one Chromie Squiggle sale, Genesis by Claire Silver. Let's have a look at what some of those pieces look like. This piece in the upper left is a 12 WETH Gazer sale. Definitely kind of towards the low end of the range. I think the past couple sales in Gazers have been at 14, 15. So someone taking a WETH bid to get some liquidity there. Upper right is a piece called Genesis by DCA. There are actually 2 pieces from Genesis by DCA, which sold, one for 2.86 and one in the 3s. The floor right now, I think, is about 3.9. This was one of the very first Art Blocks curated projects that came out. And then in the lower left, a 5 ETH sale of Memories of Chi Lin by Emily Shi. Pretty good sale for her. The sales recently have been in like the 3.5 to 4.5 ETH range. That's a little bit higher. And then in the lower right, a 2.7 ETH sale of JPEG by Jan Robert Legti. So that's a pretty nice sale too. I mean, that's well above floor. So some decent Art Block sales over the past 24 hours. Second thing to talk about, and the main story for today, is that Pudgy Penguins launch their toys on Amazon. Looking at the tweet, here it is. Today is the beginning of a new era for Web3. Happy to announce Pudgy Toys and Pudgy World are now available. This video is worth watching. It's a 1-minute video basically showing the Pudgy Penguin toys kind of coming to life, and there's a girl who's playing with a toy. I don't know. It's a pretty cool video and a much longer thread. Worth checking out that thread. This toys have had initial success. If you look at this, I just kind of checked this morning. Number 39 best-selling toy on Amazon. This one on the left, this one on the right. Number 5 best-selling plushie on Amazon. So it seems like there are a lot of early sales. This tweet from Spencer, who's a big Pudgy Penguin fan, said, wow, Luca Netz just said on a Spaces that in the first 2 days, they've already generated over 500,000 sales, $500,000 of sales on Amazon, which is more than 20,000 individual toys sold already. So it seems like there's some real initial success. I bought 2 of them. I'm contributing to 2 of those 20,000. Here you go. It does say that they aren't going to arrive until mid to the end of June. So maybe the logistics aren't quite perfect yet, or maybe there's just a lot more being sold than they were ready for. And the result is people like me who are a little bit late have to wait, but that's cool. The kids are going to like it. We're going to put them in the background when we finally get them. Here is just a little bit more about what they're actually doing. One thing they're saying here is that anybody who gets a toy, there's going to be a QR code, and that's going to take you basically to pudgyworld.com, where you can get a soulbound NFT. You're also going to get a bunch of different traits for your soulbound NFT, and those traits are going to be sellable on Polygon. Here you can see it. Luca kind of went through this in the video, but with each one, you're gonna it kind of has a bit of a casino feel. You push the button, you see what kind of traits you get. Is it rare? Is it epic? What is it? Is it common? And with those, you're gonna be able to sell those and also to clothe the soulbound Pudgy Penguin. So kind of cool that each person who gets these is going to be able to kind of have this Web3 type experience. Also games like chess on the website and a few other features that you can do if you scan that QR code. A bit of my take here. First of all, where is this money going? Over $500,000 in the first 2 days. Who actually gets that money? And then what I've heard and what I've, EB7, Eric, a friend of mine, he owns one of the penguins that is actually one of the toys being sold. He paid up for it. I think he paid something like 6, 7, 8 times floor. because it's been known that this is one of the ones, but it's only the toys that are being specifically sold. Those holders had to sign contracts with NDAs that basically talked about their agreement. I think it's very hard to give all the royalties to the full collection. There are securities issues with that. So what they're doing is making so just the individual, at least with this iteration, just the individuals who own the specific toys are the ones who are going to get royalties. Second thing I say here is I think this is a good opportunity for the company to monetize their wide distribution. There are more than 500,000 followers of the Pudgy Penguins account on Instagram. So, those followers are not going to, in all likelihood, spend $7,000 on an NFT, but spending $25 on a toy on Amazon, you're like, that's something that maybe this wider audience is interested in doing. So this is a good way to kind of generate revenue and bring more people further into their ecosystem. One thing that Luca has said is that he wants to use the revenue from the toys basically to invest in Web3. So the toys create a revenue stream where he's not relying on royalties, not relying on future collections that dilute the initial holders, none of that. Like, it's just a new revenue stream so he can invest further in making the NFTs more valuable, and a better collection. And then one thing I say here is there has been some kind of criticism on Twitter, some people saying this isn't a big deal. My view is that motion creates motion. Right now, we're trying to figure out the models that work to make NFTs work over time, to make them valuable over time, to make them collectible over time. And here you have someone who's making big waves. I'm all for it. That's why I bought 2 of them. I just think it's great to support the guys who are experimenting, who are trying things new, and we all get to watch, we all get to learn and be part of it. So congratulations to Luca and the team on this. I said that Eric has an NFT that also has a toy. Here's the example. You can see on the left, there's the NFT. On the right, there's the toy. That's what it looks like. All comes full circle. Third thing to talk about, Blur trait bids coming soon. I don't even know if it's coming soon, but if you look at these tweets, here's one where the guy says, you guys are killing it. What's up next? And Blur responded, traits, friend. And then another person here was kind of complaining a little bit. And Pac-Man said, trait bidding is up next, friend. So kind of interesting stuff. Both these tweets are from the past 2 or 3 days. Just wanted to give some thoughts about it. I think the big thing that they're trying to address is ever since collection bids have started happening with where the Blur incentive, where the Blur token goes to people who place bids on entire collections, so many different NFTs have become floor NFTs. If you look at this chart, it's kind of a metric I created that looks at how much divergence is there between the prices of NFTs sold over the course of a day. Like, are they all selling at the same price, or are you getting different prices based on different traits and different characteristics? What you can see is before incentivized bidding happened, you had a lot more divergence in the prices on Azukis, Moonbirds, and Mutant Apes. Whereas ever since incentivized bidding happened, basically every NFT in the project, not everyone, but the majority of the trades are all around the same price, focused on that floor. So I think that's what Blur is trying to do. And Pac-Man has said in spaces before that he likes traits. He thinks that non-fungible aspect is something that makes NFTs interesting, and it's something that he wants to bring back. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the impact, first of all, what are they actually doing, like with trait bidding, like what is the functionality that becomes enabled? Secondly, of course, is how much incentive is going to go for people to put trait bids on? How are they going to work that mechanism? And then 3, what is the overall impact? And again, this is all still unknown. This is just kind of deriving thoughts from a couple tweets. My quick thoughts, one is that with collection bids being the only incentivized bids, kind of there's been basically a vacuum that sucks a lot more NFTs into the floor price. Second thing, incentivized bidding could change that. Maybe now people are getting paid, getting incentivized to bid above floor for certain traits, and maybe we get a little bit more of the divergence. Third thing, the incentives are unknown. But when I look at kind of past incentives, what have we learned from Blur till now? I think that what we have seen is that when people get incentivized to do things, at first it creates great exit liquidity. You get like really nice prices where there's a lot of bids. That creates great exit liquidity for people who own NFTs or for people who who own traits. Perhaps in this example, it creates a lot of volume, but over time it has hurt prices. Why has it hurt prices? Because that initial pump leads to a lot of longer term, more patient holders selling to quick flippers. And those quick flippers sell really quickly because they need that ETH back. And over time, prices tend to go lower. A lot of supply kind of gets sucked up among these people who are quick flippers, makes it harder to want to buy when you know there's that supply. I think that's what we've seen happen with the collection-wide things. It'll be interesting to see if the same mechanism happens when you can just bid at a trait level. Perhaps this time is different in the sense that we're already used to the bids, so maybe it won't have quite as much of an impact. Maybe it'll just be an incremental positive versus what is currently the status quo. We will see. As I always say, the only thing that makes prices really go up over time is more people wanting to own NFTs, more people feeling connection to the traits. Not sure this moves the needle there, but perhaps it will. Will be interesting to watch as that plays out. Last thing to talk about, let's talk about a few notable sales. First, a PFP, and 2 pretty fun one-on-ones. Starting off with a PFP, this King's Crown Bored Ape Yacht Club sold for 82 ETH. Now, King's Crown has been a grail trait when it comes to bored apes. here you're basically at a 2x premium to the floor. Where have they been selling in the past? The 4 most recent King's Crown sales before this were all above 100 ETH, one at 105, this one at 440. That's just because it's a trippy for Ape. But these 2 at the bottom, 125, 120. So the range for this trade has been 100 to 150. So seeing one sell at 82 ETH, certainly at the low end of the range, but not surprising. Floors are down, grailness is down, divergence in traits, as I showed, is down. So not too surprising to see that. A one of one here. How was your day by Roope Rainisto? Sold for 5 ETH. As a reminder, Roope Rainisto is the artist, AI artist behind Life in West America, Reworld. I put 2 images from it. This is a 1-minute video, which basically is just kind of a fluid motion between different faces. Starts with male faces, goes to female faces, and kind of, it's just kind of a cool AI video that just is pretty interesting to look at. So go check it out yourself. But a 5E sale, this is his Genesis piece on Super Rare. The buyer was Flamingo DAO. In terms of other sales that he has had, this one on the left sold for 20 WETH. This was from the Life in West America collection, though. And as I've talked about, collection NFTs, where there are a lot of people who are in the same collection doing the marketing for you, creating FOMO, often sell at a higher price than the one of ones do. And we certainly saw this here. Clearly this was a time when Life in West America floor was in double digits. It's now down to about 3.5 ETH. So this was at a better time for this project, but still, this was the highest sale that Roope has had. And this one on the right was a one of one sale that he did on Christie's. So in that auction, this one sold for the most degenerate of numbers, 3.69420 ETH. But congrats to Flamingo DAO and congrats to Roope on that sale. And the last one I want to talk about is this piece called Underneath the Sky by Marc Simonetti, sold for 2.17 ETH. Really cool image. I recommend checking it out on Super Rare, on OpenSea. Basically, it's got this MC Escher feel where you have kind of like a labyrinth of a building and different people walking around in that labyrinth. So really kind of fun work. And he has a lot of fun work and a really kind of a divergent range of styles that Marc Simonetti has had. This piece in the upper left, I believe, is his highest sale in Super Rare, 5.1 ETH, called Escher Japan. This one in the right, Labyrinth for 3 ETH, and then a couple more for 3 to 4 ETH. So really cool work, worth checking out. A little bit about him. He was born in 1977 in France. He's a French artist, very well-established art director, concept artist, illustrator, and fine artist. But he is best known for his work on G.R.R. Martin's books, A Song of Ice and Fire and the Iron Throne. So this guy did a lot of the illustrations for Game of Thrones when that was in the book form. So pretty cool stuff. I'll show you a couple of those in a second. And then lastly, it says here that his most recent work as a concept artist is making visual development and staging dramatic lightings and all sorts of interesting stuff. But he's done that for Aladdin as well as Aquaman 2. So really well-accomplished guy who's done a lot of high-profile projects. If you go to his website, you can buy his illustrations. This one in the middle, Tyrion and King's Landing, Iron Throne on the right, Castle Black on the left. Did a lot of the original kind of prints for the Game of Thrones concept. So worth checking that out. I thought that was pretty awesome. I like Game of Thrones. Cool show. I'm not even that into sci-fi, but I thought it was a cool show. Anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you have a great weekend. Give us a like. If you like the show, give us a like. Subscribe to the channel. Tell us what you think in the comments. And we'll be back on Monday and every weekday with another show. Have a good one.